to your Planning Partners morning webinar series. I'm Judy Hughes, and I'm co-presenting today with my partner in business and in life, my husband Nick Hughes. Nick and I have been in business together and married to each other for over 30 years, and both partnerships are still working. During that time, as well as having a life, we have built, bought, and sold 3 businesses, and now we are enjoying the success of your planning partners. Through your planning partners, we work with small business owners to apply our experience of building successful businesses to support our clients in achieving the success that they want for their business. So that's who we are. Now, about this webinar, Conquering the 7 Barriers to Business Growth. Our experience with our business growth and with our clients has brought us to understand that there are common barriers that get in the way for everybody. We realize that those same barriers keep coming up over and over again for business owners who want to grow. No matter the type of business, the same roadblocks keep showing up and getting in the way. This webinar is an introduction to those barriers, so you can identify what it is that's getting in your way and get started breaking those barriers down for your own growth. Now, let me talk about the format that we're going to walk through in this next hour. In order to get a common ground on where we're going to get a clear understanding together of what business growth is and the impact of that growth on you and on your business. Then we will describe the 7 barriers to business growth and explain why they are barriers and why they keep coming up. And last but not least, the most important perhaps, is that we'll provide some practical tools and some immediate actions to help you overcome these barriers as you go forward. During the webinar, please send your questions. We'll make every attempt to answer them in the time allowed, and we will be sending you both the PowerPoint and the link to this webinar for your future reference. So let's get started. What is business growth? Well, business growth is an increase in size and in revenue. No matter how you want to do it, you will need more people. You will need more people to support the delivery of your service or the production of your product. They may not be employees, by the way. They could simply be outsourced people, suppliers, but you are going to need more people. And you definitely will need more revenue in order to grow your business. Business growth is strong and sustainable. In other words, it's not growth for 1 year and then you go down or you get stuck. It's strong, sustainable growth year after year. It's planned and proactive and managed. Trust me, growth doesn't happen because of miracles. It happens because you plan where you are going, who you serve, and how you're going to get there. And we know only too well that when it comes to growing a business, hope is not a strategy. The question I always ask at the beginning of every seminar that I do, or every presentation, is, are you building a business, or are you simply creating a job for yourself? Business growth has to be about building a business that's not dependent on you. Business growth is truly about building a business that's not only about selling more stuff, so it will have an infrastructure. And despite what you read in papers, it does not grow overnight. Growth is a journey. It's not a quick fix. What's the impact of growth on your company? Well, we know for sure that it's going to mean change, and change is hard. Not changing, however, is fatal. You will definitely need to do some things differently in order to grow your business. You know the expression, we can't keep doing the same things the same way and expect a different result. Well, it's totally true with regard to growing your business. You will need more people. Let me get rid of this arrow so we don't get confused. You will need more people, as I mentioned earlier, and you will need more processes, because the minute you bring on people, your business, they need to know how to move forward and what to do in a profitable manner. And you will need more customers. Not only more revenue, you need strategies to build your customer base. And when you have all of those, I can guarantee you it will become more complex. All of those things definitely need more complex business than you have today. But please remember, more complexity does not have to mean more problems. It simply means change. And if you are prepared, it will mean planned and controlled change. What impact is that growth going to have on you, the business owner? Well, the first thing I must tell you is that your job must change. You will not be doing the same things in 2 years that you are doing today, or at least you should not be doing the same things in 2 years that you are doing today. You need to focus on learning new skills. And you need to know that at least 30% of your time should be spent on activities that are about growing your business. Those activities, by the way, are not client delivery. That's not one of your growth activities, believe it or not. Your growth activities are things like sales and hiring, planning, creating thought leadership information. You will need to learn new skills about managing rather than supervising, coaching rather than dictating, budgeting and financing rather than budgeting and financial management rather than day-to-day cash flow. You will need to build new relationships. You need new team members, new clients, new suppliers probably, and new peer groups who are going to challenge you to new levels. It's all about change, and it's sort of like starting over, except it's a lot better, I guarantee. Now you have a foundation to build on. You didn't have that in the beginning. You have a better idea of what works and what doesn't. You have history to look at, and you can make educated decisions about where you want to go. You know your strengths, and you know your weaknesses. So build on your strengths and minimize those weaknesses. One of the people that I really admire is Dan Sullivan from the Strategic Coach. He's a master of models. And he speaks about the fact that we all spend way too much time trying to improve our weaknesses. And all we end up with are really strong weaknesses, rather than investing that same amount of time on improving our strengths so that we can really get out there with the things that we do well and grow our business. So what is it that stops growth? Small business owners start their business and then they get to a ceiling and it stops. What are the things that stop it? Well, number one is you. We are all our own worst enemies. We need to get out of our own way. Number two is people and not having the right people to make things happen. In the book Good to Great, Jim Collins refers to having the right people on your bus, and that is such a critical point. We're going to talk about each of these things as we go through the webinar, but we're specifically going to spend some time on people and having the right people on your bus. Money. Well, no, money doesn't actually stop your growth, but not enough money at the right time will definitely stop your growth. You need to spend money to make money. It's totally true when you're growing your business. Growth costs money. Nick's going to walk you through some of the solutions to this challenge a little bit later, and there are a number of blogs on our website. In fact, right now, the blogs that Nick is writing about are all around profit. It's no good to have a company that makes $100,000 if it costs you $150,000 to do it. Customers. As I mentioned earlier, you need more customers. But specifically, you need more paying customers in order to grow. Customers who are paying you the right amount of money and who value the work you do. So we're going to talk about that as well. And processes. As soon as you bring one person into your business, you need processes. We'll explain why documented processes are the backbone of your growth as we go forward. But you cannot have it all in your head any longer if you intend to grow. That will just stunt your growth. Information chaos. The correct information retrieved in timely fashion simply allows everyone to do their job better. And more importantly, it allows you to make sound decisions about how you're going to grow and where you're going to go. Plans. Well, actually more and more people have plans, but strategic action plans specifically are what I'm talking about. Plans that outline where you want to be in 3 years, how you're going to get there, and what needs to happen. This is actually the core of your growth. This is the place that you're going to in 3 or 5 or 10 years. So these same barriers keep coming up over and over and over again. let's take a few minutes, let's take some time and talk about the solutions.
And it's my turn. Good morning, everyone. Very happy to see you all here. I'm going to be discussing the barrier 1, which is you, the owner, us, the owner. Let's be clear here. We're talking about the barriers to business growth, that is the hurdles that get in the way and prevent business growth. And here we are saying the barrier is the owner. It doesn't make sense, does it? Here we are saying that the one person that really, really wants to see their business succeed and grow could be a barrier to that success. Well, it's true. There are 3 key areas that where the business growth runs into hurdles as far as we, the owners, are concerned. There's experience and knowledge. As the business grows, Judy mentioned, it gets more complex, and your experience and knowledge has to grow with that. Self-confidence, and the time to do everything that needs to be done. So let's talk about solutions to the experience and knowledge, because as your business grows, it does become more complicated, and you need to grow along with it. And so here's a sort of shopping list of areas you can go to get that growth in experience and knowledge. On the job, obviously, as the business grows, you will learn every day. You could search out a mentor, for example, the second one here, someone who's done it before and is really happy to volunteer their time to help you do it with your business. You can bring in a partner, business partner, who's again done it before and can bring that experience to your business. Industry meetings. These are a great way to learn more and more, because there you meet peers of yours, you meet people who can tell you what's happening in your industry and the solutions that people have come up with to problems as their businesses grow. And of course, magazines and blogs, and on, for example, any of the business magazines, specifically ones like Entrepreneur that focuses in on small businesses. Peer groups, again, wonderful way to learn because you learn from other people. Webinars like this one, congratulations for coming here, because you're going to be learning how to overcome some of these hurdles. And our very own website, we're full of resources and checklists and tools to help businesses grow.
I just want to add here that on experience and knowledge, professional development is something that we tend to stop doing once we become busy business owners. I use the word busy business owners. So you need to make the time to learn, and you need to make the time to learn how to be a good business owner. Start looking for courses and programs like this or others and book them into your day timer.
Very good point, actually, and there are a lot of course, free conferences on at the moment with the Business Week coming up, and it's so easy to not go to them because you are, quote, too busy. So thank you, Judy. Let's talk about self-confidence. We all suffer from it from time to time, where we just feel we can't do it, it's not going to work, everything's going to go wrong. Well, here are some ways to overcome the lowering of your self-confidence, those days when you're feeling a bit overwhelmed. You first of all need to develop a clear vision for your future. If you have a really clear vision that you can taste, you can see, you have a passion to achieve, that helps you really drive forward as the business grows. And spend more time reflecting on your successes. I'm sure you're the same as we are. We sometimes spend too much time reflecting on the things that didn't work. Don't do that. Spend at least half an hour a day reflecting on the successes. That will help boost your self-confidence. And hang out with positive people. All our mothers told us that we are who we hang out with. Well, hang out with positive people because that's very catching. You will get that positive spirit as well. If you hang out with negative people, that's not a good thing. Scared or excited. It's a proven fact that when you're scared, your body goes through the same physiological changes as when you're excited. So the next time you're facing something that scares you, for example, that difficult conversation with an employee, or a follow-up phone call with a difficult prospect, and you're feeling that sort of scared feeling inside, just tell yourself, I'm not scared, I'm excited about doing this. And Mark Fisher and Mark Allen in their book have a great mantra that we use here at YPP.
The book is called How to Think Like a Millionaire. And I usually don't like books about being a millionaire, because if that was the case, there's so many books, we would all be millionaires. But this book is about thinking positively and thinking in a positive fashion. So it's how to think like a millionaire.
And every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. It's a great thing to say to yourself. And above all else, remember that attitude is everything. A self-confident attitude will infect you into a self-confident mode. So there's some ways of overcoming those times when you're not feeling as confident as you should. And then there's time. We all have too much to do in the time available. And so here are some time tricks we use to help us focus on those activities around business growth. Do you remember at the beginning of the webinar, Judy said you need to spend 30% of your time on business growth activities? Well, here's some solutions to that. The 45-minute solution is we add 45 minutes to every day. It might be the end of the day, it might be the beginning of the day, but by doing that, that 45-minute period is used just on growth activities, on creating new products, on searching out new markets, anything that's related to growing your business. So the 45-minute solution, and I think it adds up to?
And it adds up to 2.5 hours, I think, something like that.
A lot.
I'll add to that another part of this, and this has worked for so many of our clients, and certainly works for me when I get overwhelmed, is before you open your email, do one thing that's about growing your business.
Thank you. Procrastinate. Yes, you can procrastinate, but do it in a strategic way. When you look at your to-do list or whatever you use to manage your days, go through it and add a tag to every item on there that this is a must-do, I've got to do it. It's a should-do, if I can get round to it, I should do it, or it's a nice-to-do. You can immediately cross out anything that's nice to do, and you can put the shoulds into another list for another day. That's procrastination, and it's a good thing, because now you're focused on those things you must do. And no interrupt time. This is really difficult sometimes, especially if you don't have an office. But if you do have an office, close the door and let your team know that when the door is closed, you're in no interrupt time. You're not sleeping. You're actually thinking about growing your business and thinking about the future of your business. And you're thinking of that vision that we just talked about just earlier. And delegate. And delegate. Find other people that can do the things you do better than you do it, so that you have more time to work on growing the business. Delegation
is an art. It's not as simple as just giving something to somebody and expecting they'll get it done. So there are all sorts of books and things on delegation. We have a book on our website called Delegation. I can't remember.
Stop doing the things you shouldn't be doing, delegate.
Right. And there are a number of different books if you just research, because delegation truly is an art. It's important and it's an art.
And it's difficult. Mm-hmm. And as Judy mentioned earlier, do one important thing every day before you open your emails. That is really powerful. So that's the barrier of us, the owners. And there are three areas we touched on with some solutions for each. And when you get the slides from us, go back through them and decide when and how you're going to do that. And so I hand back to Judy.
Okay. So this is about, as I said earlier, the most important thing you can do to grow your business is have the right people on the bus. And the right people start in lots of ways. My advice to people who are stuck, who are still working on their own, is to hire an admin support person, because that admin support person will allow you to grow your business by taking the things off your plate that you should not be doing. And this is the people mantra that I ask you to say to yourself as often as possible and put it up on your wall. When you get these slides, print it out and put it up on your wall. The mantra is, I cannot grow my business without the help of other people who can do much of the work better, faster, and more efficiently than me, allowing me to be doing what I should be doing, which of course is having growth as your factor, your focus factor. I need to just jump in. So many business owners say, and I caught myself doing it, is I don't think anybody else can do it as well as I can. Well, perhaps nobody else can do all of it as well as you can, but I know for sure that somebody else can do some of it better than you can. And that's what we're really looking for, is someone who can do much of the work better, faster, and more efficiently than you, and in my case, than me. So that's the mantra to put on your wall. So this is the strategic focused business model, and I'm just going to walk you through it. You might look at this and say, well, this is a business model for a company much larger than mine. But I want to assure you that every single business has these functions. We all have marketing. This webinar is education for you, and it's also an opportunity for us to introduce ourselves to you. That's marketing. We all have products or service. That's how we make our living. We all need and have systems, even if we don't recognize it right now. You have a system for everything you do. We all have financials. We deal with them all differently, but we all have them. And whether we have people who are actually employed by us, or whether we have suppliers who are serving us, or whether we have a virtual assistant, we all have an interaction with the people who help us make our business. Sales, of course, is exactly that's how we make our revenue. And if you've got a client, you should have a customer service function. And all of that should, at the center of it, have planning and control. So you really do have every single one of these functions. It is not only larger companies. Plus, on top of that, we all have the administration and all of that corporate stuff, the emails and the tax returns and the HST. So it's no wonder that we're always feeling like we're on a treadmill. All of these functions need to be assigned to an owner as your company grows. So you're not only hiring someone to deliver, you need to be assigning the internal functions of the company in order to grow. Your business is a complex mesh of these components, and they must all work together like a well-oiled machine. And you can't or should not be doing all of these things. You need people. You actually need the right people. And as I said, it can be outsourced people. It can be people it can be suppliers, but you need other people in order to grow your business. Now, it isn't easy to bring on other people. So, and people get stuck simply at the concept of bringing on other people. So I'm going to walk you through a 7-step recruitment process that we have. And I know that for sure that we have an HR person on as part of our attendees today. So I'll be interested to see what his feedback is to our 7-step recruitment process. Number 1, really define the job. Create a job profile. I can't tell you the number of clients that we meet who have jumped over this one most important component. You want to hire for the job. Don't create the job for the person. In other words, you have somebody on your team already and you think they might be able to do this. Do the job profile first. Find the right candidates. Start with once you've got your job profile, start with your network. Put the word out that you're looking for someone. You're looking for someone to do this specific job. Your network knows your values and they know your expectations. Go to the associations that you're part of, talk to other employees, post it on LinkedIn groups, put it out to your clients. You need the more people that know, the better. And after you've done that part, then go out and post it on the appropriate sites for job postings. Review the resumes when they start coming in. But you're not going to just read them to see if they're well written. You want to review them to eliminate people who don't meet your top criteria or don't have the things that are your showstoppers. things that the showstoppers are the things that you must absolutely have, or the person is not a candidate. So you're going to take those resumes and shortlist them down to probably 7 to 10 resumes. Then, go ahead.
So an example of a showstopper in a resume could be if you happen to be a Mac shop and you need that expertise, and a resume doesn't show any indication that this person has worked in a Mac environment, then you would not include them. You would exclude them from the shortlist.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a good example. After that, do phone interviews. Phone interviews are critical. You will eliminate a whole bunch of people. Create your phone interview. Don't just call these people down and say, hi, how are you? You want to create phone interview questions. You want to be really clear on what are the showstoppers to ensure if somebody cannot work from 9 until 5, and that's an important thing for you, you want to know it right now. And at the end of this phone interviews, you will probably have 3 or 4 remaining names or resumes to do an actual interview with. Develop the interview questions before you meet with them, and those interview questions should be based on the job requirements, and include some behavioral questions. Questions like, tell me about your role on such and such a project, and how did you deal with the tight deadlines? Compare all of the answers after you have interviewed everyone. So you take your notes through the interview and then compare your answers. Don't make a decision right then and there.
I have a question here and the question is, in terms of the interviews, which are face-to-face, how many people would you like to be able to interview in a face-to-face environment?
I like to keep it at 3 to 4 at the most in an interview, in the first interview. I actually have worked with clients that we've done as many as 5, but 3 or 4 is ideal. And because after that you should have a second interview with the candidates, the remaining candidates. Usually there are a couple of candidates you're not quite sure on, so you always want to do a second interview. The other part, before that second interview, if you've got a couple of people, I always recommend doing references. Ask people for reference, who they would use as a reference, and check them. Don't be afraid to ask the referred person, would you hire this person again, given the opportunity? People really don't lie. I've had people say to me, no, I wouldn't, but I think they would be great in your job. So that's really critical. And last but not least, onboarding. This is truly your responsibility to make it work. Welcome the new person to your business. If this is your first hire, go out of your way. Welcome the new person to your business, as I said, and those first few days are critical. I know you're busy, but make sure you plan for their onboarding and make time for them. Provide them with the lay of the land. Where are the best places for lunch? Where's the best parking or TTC access? Share a little bit about the history of the company and the clients. Give them some meaningful work and plan the time to review it with them. They need feedback. Onboarding is critical. And the expression is hire slow and fire fast. If by chance you make a mistake and it's not the right match, that just is such a standing truth, is take time in your hiring, go slowly, don't worry about losing a candidate, and if it's not working, don't put that person through the pain of staying on board, fire quickly.
I can still remember when, back many, many, many years when I was an employee, my first week on a new job, I was handed a thick binder. I was given a desk in the corner and told to read and memorize. Needless to say, I didn't stay there for very long. It was the worst onboarding you could imagine.
I have to say, and not just because there's an HR person on the line, but it's also, this is an area that's really worth seeking professional support. Professional support comes in all kinds of ways. It doesn't have to be a recruitment company. There are consultants out there that will help you do the job profiles, that will help you do interviews. This is such a critical part of your business growth. It's really worth investing not only your time, but people who are experienced and know what they're doing.
Ah, this is my turn. Money, money, money makes the world go round, the world go round. Okay, I will stop right now. But the fact is, in order to grow your business, you do need money. You need money to fund that growth, because growth needs the money, as it says here. More important, that growth devours money. As you're growing, what is happening is expenses increase faster than the revenue that comes in. So one example might be your growth strategy might be to hire a salesperson to help you increase revenue and increase your client base. Well, you'll be paying that salesperson a salary for 3-4 months before they start bringing new clients in, and the revenue with that will cover their salary. So the expenses will increase faster than when the revenue comes in as you grow. So you need money to fund that increase in expenses. We are all optimists, and what does that mean? That means that everything will be fine. Just move forward, hire the salesperson and hope. And remember what Judy said, hope is not a strategy, but hope they bring in revenue faster than they actually will. So we are all optimists. We should, in fact, be prepared for needing this money. So having said we've got to be self-confident, I'm now saying let's be too optimistic. So manage the money. Let's talk about managing the money. If you went out to the business community and did a survey on what are the major issues faced by the owners of those businesses, regardless of size, cash flow will always come up as the #1 issue that they need to focus on and manage. The cash flows in slower than the cash flows out. It's a reality, and it can be very painful. As Dan Sullivan, who Judy quoted on earlier, the founder of Strategic Coach, is very fond of saying, is that the end of the month is that moment when all entrepreneurs go through the most fearful moment of their time, because bills are due and clients haven't yet paid. So how do you help a cash flow? Well, let's talk about credit cards. We have this discussion with our clients many, many times. Allow your customers to pay by credit card. The discussion is usually, yes, but that'll take 1 to 2% off the top. And we say, yes, but that means they will pay faster.
Yeah, with regard to credit cards, I always tell people to treat it as just simply a cost of doing business. And on top of that, you're paying interest on any overdraft and so on. So I know many, many times people, and the other thing people say is large corporations don't want to use credit cards. I know that's absolutely not true. We have clients who government employees, or government contacts are using their credit cards to pay for things. So, and the company we use is called BeanStream. It's BeanStream, and they're really very good and very effective.
And so if you want to know more about BeanStream and how we use it, I'm sure you can call Judy and or Rebecca, and they will let you know how it works. It works really well. The money goes straight into your account. And let's move on to the third point here, invoicing. Why not invoice more often? We have changed into situations where a company is normally invoicing at the end of every month, and we've added a mid-month invoice as well. And so they're actually invoicing twice a month, and so getting that money in sooner than they would have done if they're just invoicing once a month. Not all businesses can do that, but if yours is one that allows you to do that, let's say, for example, you're a business coach, you might say to your client, okay, I invoice you twice a month rather than once a month. And it really does help that cash flow. So that's dealing with cash flow, and there's a whole other issues around cash flow. But what about if you just need more money to help to fund the growth? This is the fourth point there. You've got to find some funding. You've got to find some investors. You've got to find some people that will lend you money. And the first place you can go to, obviously, is your own bank. But as many people have experienced, banks will only lend you money when you don't need it. But if you do have a very good relationship with your bank and you're prepared to sign off the mortgage on your house as collateral, you can get some very decent loans from banks. You can also get decent loans from friends and family. But if you do borrow from friends and family, make sure you make it a business transaction. Make sure there's a real, honest-to-goodness contract between the two of you, as opposed to, here's a check, and someday you can pay it back. Because that just breeds resentment as time goes on. And then, of course, there are places like angel investors. If you Google angel investors, these are people who have made their money by growing their own business, and they now want to give money back to help other people grow. So there's a great number of avenues for you to find funding. But if you're going in for very fast growth, you want to grow very rapidly over the next 2 to 3 years, this fourth bullet of find funding from somewhere else is going to be essential. And we can cover that off. In fact, I think we have a blog on that I can send you quite happily.
Yes, I just remembered that there's a in the tools to manage your business on the website, there's a small mini workshop on how to create a budget. That would be really good for the cash flow component as well.
Excellent point. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so another way to get money, of course, is to increase your customer base and therefore increase your revenue. So let's talk about customers for a few minutes. It goes without saying that a business without customers is in fact not a business. So here are a few facts about customers. One is you need them. You need them to grow even more than you need them to stay, just to keep them, maintain the norm. You especially need them to help you invest in your growth. You will lose up to 30% of your existing customers in a year. So I will qualify that. You may not lose 30%, but you will lose some of your customers, and some businesses actually have to plan to lose up to 30% of their existing customers in a year. By no fault of their own, but because they move, or they change direction, or they go out of business, you have absolutely no control over some of the reasons that you will lose them, particularly if you are a destination business. So when you're doing your planning, it's not enough to plan for the growth of your customer base. You have to plan to fill that loss of customer base as well. The other thing is new customers cost more. New customers cost 10 times more money, time, and energy to get those new customers than it does to keep existing customers. So one of the things that people don't have very often in their plan is a customer service or a customer support component. You need to have that in your plans so that you can make sure that you're minimizing that loss of customer base every year. All that networking, all those email campaigns and trade shows, all those events, they all cost money and time, and you want to make sure that you're maximizing the return on that. And last but not least, my favorite one is diamonds in your own backyard. What do we mean by this? The diamonds in your backyard are the people that you have already invested that time and money in to create a relationship, but they may not have bought from you yet. They are the people that you have met at networking and not yet done a proposal for. Or they're the people you've done a proposal and they just haven't bought yet. So you are sitting on a diamond mine. Always start to build your customer base from the diamonds in your own backyard. It's the least expensive and the least time-consuming approach to growing your customer base. So I'm going to, just because I really do believe this is an ignored component, I'm going to take a few more minutes on mining for those diamonds and selling more to existing customers. I'm going to combine them a little bit. So how can you grow those diamonds in your backyard? First thing you need to do, by the way, is identify who those diamonds are. Go through your contact database, go through your mailing list, and see who you haven't talked to for a while. Those are the people. A couple of weeks ago, I gave one of our clients the challenge. She was extremely busy and was concerned about business growth at the same time. And so the challenge I presented is to be in touch with just one, past contact every working day. So that's 5 contacts a week, 1 a day. That's all I'm asking, 1 a day. And reach out, say hello, ask how they're doing, and share a little bit about what's going on for you. As a result, she's actually already increased. Some of those people have come on board as clients. Keep in regular touch. So that's the one a day. Treat your Donna's in your own backyard with the same respect that you would treat new prospects. I always tell the story of the bank giving away the iPad to new customers, and I've been dealing with the TD for 25 years, and they won't give me a new iPad. So with the people in your database who are your diamonds, promote your growth. People love to hang out with successful people. Tell them that you're looking for a new hire. Do they know anybody? You're growing. Make it easy for people to buy. That's the third point. We don't make it easy enough for people to buy. Ask them, when should I call back? Can I provide you with any more information? And follow up with people. It's not their job to follow up with you. Add on products and services. This is the way, with existing clients, to increase your sales more than new customers. And it doesn't have to be your product. If you're an accountant, it could be bookkeeping services. If you are a fitness coach, it could be dietitian that you hook up with. So provide services that are not yours and you don't have to incur expense for. Do your clients or do the diamonds who you haven't spoken to in the last year actually know everything you do that you can help them with? People only know what you've spoken to them about last. So make sure that you tell them about all of the services that you offer. If you are a writer, do they know that you can do LinkedIn profiles? If you're a designer, do they know you can do forms? Remember, it's your job to make it as easy as possible for people to buy. Another way you can use your diamonds is to ask them for help. People really do want to help, especially the people who know and love you. You just have to ask. So ask them for referrals. Make it really easy. Don't ask them to do an introduction. Simply do a little research on LinkedIn and ask if you can use their name as a point of reference. That's about as easy as you're going to get a referral. Ask them for testimonials. Again, make it easy. If someone says something wonderful about your service offering, ask them if you can use those words on your website, or if you can use those in your next mailer. Ask for more business. Don't be afraid to ask for the opportunity to do more work together. If somebody's bought from you once, chances are they're going to need your services again. And always, always say those magic words. Thank you. Say thank you. We really, really appreciate your help. Thank you. We really appreciate working with you.
And here we are at barrier number 5. This is the 5th barrier that can prevent growth. Processes. Processes are the engines of your business. When they run well, it is like a well-oiled machine, silent and efficient. When they run badly, it messes up the operation and hinders, if not stops, growth. So here are some issues around processes. First of all, if you don't have them and have them documented, it's a barrier to delegation. So it's very difficult to delegate something that isn't documented, and because it takes extra time and you have to try and remember how to do something. It takes there's longer training time for new employees, and this again will hinder your growth. And when you haven't got documented processes, every time you do something, you keep reinventing the wheel. HST submissions is a classic example. You do them every quarter or every year, and you have to rethink every time how to do them if you haven't designed and documented the process. And you get errors, and this is a killer because you're processing stuff and you get errors, particularly if it's in client delivery type work. And you get inconsistent results because there isn't a standard way of actually completing any one process. So all of these together is a real killer for business growth. You'll find you're constantly sort of trying to correct errors, training people, delegate, and so on. Just think franchising. I mean, the whole franchising industry is based around documented processes that anyone can follow regardless of training. Once you decide you're going to document your processes, if you haven't already done so, here's the mantra. Keep it simple. Create and document when performing the process. So the first time you want to document that process, do it when you're actually carrying out the process. jot down the tasks, and have a consistent layout in the document. Description of the purpose of the process, general description, the sequence of steps, and some examples. That's it. That's all you need. And when you're visiting us at our office, we'd be more than happy to show you our simple but very valuable process manual. And then the sixth barrier, information. If you don't have clear, concise, accurate information, you're going to find managing a growing business is extremely difficult and actually really quite risky, because lots of businesses are suffering from information chaos. This is a very great confusion, complete disorder, and information grows worse as the business grows, and that will slow you down. So what are the symptoms of information chaos? First of all, lost information. I'm sure you've been there, as all of us have been. Could you go and find out how many widgets we sold last April, and no one can find where that information is. So you're now driving blind. Wrong information. There's two types of wrong information. There's information that's wrong and you know it's wrong, and that's a bit of a pain, but that's okay. The worst sort is information that is wrong, but you think it's correct, and therefore you're making growth decisions based upon wrong information, and that can lead you down a horrible laneway. Out-of-date information. This is very prevalent in financials, especially if you're not doing monthly financials. You're looking at information that's 1 month, 3 months, even 6 months old, and it therefore doesn't tell you much, and again doesn't help you create your growth strategies. Inconsistent information. This is where, depending on which way you look at it, it could be different. And then the time to get the information. You need it now, but it's going to take someone a week to pull it together. So those are the symptoms. If you have any of these symptoms, you've got information chaos, and you need to solve that. And how to solve it? Well, it's all about good, clean data. Garbage in means garbage out. So if you're putting wrong information into your systems, you're going to get wrong information out. So remember, garbage in, garbage out. And try wherever you can to have a single source of information. For example, our Outlook contact database, there's only one of them. We all share that one. If we each had our own, when someone changes their phone number or address, it would probably get changed on Judy's, but not on mine, or on Rebecca's and not on Judy's. So make sure you've got a single source of information so that at least you know that when information must change, it gets changed in one place and one place only. And enter data as close to the source as possible. For example, in the retail industry, they enter the sale the moment you buy it. They scan it and it's in their system. That's as close as you can get. So if you're entering data into a system, try and take the entry point as close to the source.
How would that be in a service industry or?
I'll give you a service industry
Our
example. Okay, now in our business, a good example would be if you had a client portal on your website, and they can go in there and actually make payments, or they can go in there and change their information. That's as close to the source as you can, as opposed to them emailing you, you passing it to Rebecca, and then Rebecca remembering at some point to make the change.
Okay.
Thanks for the question. That's a good point. And have checks and balances. And this is a topic all on its own, but and particularly in your financials, for example, your bookkeeper or yourself, you will reconcile your bank account. That proves that the financials are correct. That's a check and balance. And with that ado, and that's a very, very quick coverage of information. The topic itself we could cover in a webinar on its own. But there are some points you can implement immediately.
Okay, thank you. Barrier number 7 is planning. Well, actually, the barrier is planning, not having a strategic action plan. Many business owners plan to grow, but very few plan for growth. A subtle but very significant difference. An effective strategic plan is a document. It's not in your head. You're not carrying it around. It's written it can be referred to, and it can be shared. It clearly describes where you want to be. So it clearly describes, the question we ask at the beginning of our planning process is, where do you want to be in 3 years' time? In 3 years' time, what will you be celebrating? What does growth look like for you? You can't build a roadmap without a destination. The strategic plan lays out your strategy on how to get there. It's the how. It's all very well and good to say, I'm going to increase my customer base to 150 people. My first question is always, how are you going to do that? It highlights actions you need to take to make it happen. So it's the path to implementation. It tells you how you're going to implement, and it's used. You refer to it, you measure your progress, and you manage the changes. So you document it, you implement it, and you use it. Why do you need it? It's a roadmap. Your destination is clearly documented, and it shows you the best way to get there. It gives you focus. It stops you from getting totally distracted. And when you do get distracted, which we all do, then it gives you the focus of how to get back to where you need to be going. It allows you to be proactive. It stops you from reacting all the time and allows you to be responding to things that are important. It allows you to make educated decisions about opportunities and to manage the long-term impact of those decisions. And you've heard it over and over again, fail to plan, plan to fail. We know it, we simply need to do it. Set the time aside. It's not easy. The core of all of the work that we do with our clients is around strategic planning, and then it's around staying focused on implementing that plan. So set the time aside for both the documentation and the actual process of developing it, and the implementation tasks have to be in your agenda.
Remember at one point I was talking about going through your to-do list and tagging things as must do, should do, nice to do. Well, anything in that list that's related to your plans are always a must.
That's true. That's true. That's right. And sometimes our clients will actually say to us, the best part of working with us is that we actually force them to set aside the time to do their plans and to execute on those plans. So plans are, your strategic action plan, I keep coming back to that, is a powerful tool. And why is it? It will give you peace of mind. It helps you set that direction for your growth, and it provides you with the tool to manage it. So it's not just a good idea that you had on a drive somewhere. It actually is something that's written down and thought through. The second point is it will help you monitor your 3-year objectives today. So if you're doing things in your plan today, you know that you're headed in the direction of where you want to be in 3 years. It gets you back on track. We have on the website, there's a 2-minute tip on SOS, the shiny object syndrome. So your plan will help you stop being diverted and stop that shiny object syndrome from taking over. When it does happen, you go back to your plan and you sort out what has to happen to get you back on track. Your plan is your benchmark. And this is probably one of the ones that people forget most, is it allows you to take advantage of opportunities safely. Your plans are flexible. Just because an opportunity comes up doesn't mean you don't take advantage of it. Your plans allow you to assess that opportunity, assess what the impact of taking that big contract is going to be on the rest of your plans, and then make plans for how you're going to do both things, achieve growth and take advantage of the opportunity. So strategic action plan. So,
are there any questions?
Are there any questions? Well, there's 2 questions. I had one that said, why hire administrator first? And the answer to that is because an administrator will take away some of those things that get in our way every day, or some of the places we hide, and allow us to do the things that we should be doing that are higher value. And the other question I have here is, where does marketing fit in? Well, marketing fits into your plans all the way through. You always incorporate marketing strategies into your strategic plan, and business development comes as part of that as well. So, in closing, we have a webinar special.
No, that's okay. I'm just saying, sorry to interrupt, but if you go to the home page and go right down to the bottom, there's Planning for Success Handbook. You're more than welcome to download that.
Yep.
And that gives you much more details on how to create and execute your plans.
Great. Yeah, I forgot about that. Thank you. Okay, so here's the webinar special that we have.
Hooray!
Yes. But I have to tell you, we just thought of this at the last minute yesterday. So the webinar special is that if you go to yourplanningpartners.com, on the home page, under Free Business Boosters, if you sign up for Conquer the 7 Barriers to Business Growth email program, which is, Nick will tell you about it, which is?
Oh, this is a program that covers some of this material and much more. And each week you will get an email covering one of the barriers to growth and some plans, action plans to do over the next week. And then, so you'll get 7 of these emails. So
7 email action program items, and then each week there's action items. And our offer for the people who are on the seminar only is that we will add one-on-one coaching, a half-hour one-on-one coaching for each of the 7 weeks of the program. So anybody who signs up today or signs up for the next couple of days for this email program, we will make sure we get in touch with you, and we will add 7 weeks of half-hour one-on-one coaching to the program. So that's our special offer.
I think we need a soundtrack here.
Okay. And our next morning webinar is on November the 18th. It's a free webinar. It's called Learn How to Get Off the Fragmented Focus Treadmill.
And that's me up on the right-hand corner there.
Yeah, right. And so, as I said, one of the, whenever people ask me what's the biggest lesson you can teach or bring to small business owners, I always say it's about getting focused. So this whole session is about focus tools and focus items. Please be sure to visit our website. If you go to management tools to manage your business, there are tons of free resources to help you grow your business. And on Friday, we will send you the webinar PowerPoint presentation.
This webinar.
Yes, this webinar, and the webinar recording. So thank you all for attending.
Just one more thing.
Yep.
If you want more information or want to actually register for Fragmented Focus Treadmill webinar, you can do that on the website as well.
Yes, thank you. So thank you all for attending. If you have any questions outside of this, please be in touch. And I look forward to your participation in the 7-week program and doing some coaching. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been great to spend the morning with you. Good day and good luck.